All right, I'm here with Anette Olzon from the Dark Element. How are you doing today?
I'm quite good, actually. I have been ill for some days and not perfectly well still, but better. So thank you.
Well, before we get started with my questions about the record, about the song The Night Sings, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and answer a few questions.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and I thank you for doing all these reaction videos, and of course the talk about our album. We are really thankful for that. So thank you.
Well, I'm thankful to you guys for putting out such an incredible record. And the first question that I have for you, perhaps the easiest one to answer, is where did the name of the album come from?
I believe, this is always the record label that chooses these things. We don't have so much to say. I don't know how much Janne has had a saying, but I think when they decided that this song should be a single, because we always have a saying, but they are the ones responsible for, in the end, deciding the singles. So when they decided this, I guess it was a good name for the album, and I think it's quite perfect for it. It is Songs the Night Sings. It's a bit dark songs, but still very melodic, so it suits. It's fine.
With this record, I felt that we see an evolution in sound from the previous album that you guys released. It was that something that you guys had in mind going into this record? You wanted to push from what you have done in the past and move the band and the sound of the band forward into the future?
Well, I told Janne already the first album that I liked a bit more heavier guitars, for instance, and that I thought we could have a little bit more, up tempo. And then I guess Janne also felt that we should just do it bigger and bolder and more bombastic in a way. So he just made these songs, and I think he was not so afraid of exploring more different things this time. The first album is always hard, how people respond, and we got a good response. So I think it was a bit easier to just be a bit bolder this time.
That's funny you say that about the album being heavier. I also felt the album was heavier than the previous one, but there was still so much melody on the record that sometimes that heaviness was kind of hidden by the melody that you guys incorporated into the album. Does that create a perfect balance as far as you're concerned, as the sound goes on the record?
Yeah, I think so, because for me, I love catchy songs. I think it should be easy to listen. It shouldn't be too complicated for people, and even if there's some progressive elements here and there, it's still a very easy album in those things. So I think what is the Dark Element is this kind of ABBA metal vibe, melodic, my voice and just those guitars and having fun, and like I say, I do want people to dance to many of the songs or work out, because it's a good album for those things.
Yeah, I think it has a good mixture. It has those more almost pop tunes included into some heavier tracks. It's almost an album that I believe that will appeal to a vast audience. It's not really going to be narrowed down to one specific group of people. Do you agree?
Yeah, I believe so. And of course, those really metal heads, I mean, those that really, like my husband, for instance, who he actually liked the Dark Element, but I mean, those who listen to death metal maybe won't like it, of course. But otherwise, I think there's something for everyone. There's pop, like Silence Between the Words is a real pop song. And then you have Pills on a Pillow, which is a bit more like Reunión, that kind of vibe, and then you have, of course, a little bit of symphonic metal with Temptation, Nightwish, and those things. So I think it can appeal to a lot of people.
How is the creative process divided between the two of you? Who's responsible for what part?
Well, this is how it goes. Janne is the creator. So he always makes the songs, and then he sends me the demos and the lyrics. This album, actually, he asked me to send some lyrics that I felt like writing, and I did. And he picked some of the lyrics for Pills on a Pillow, for instance. So I have been in a little bit more creative process. Otherwise, he sends me the demos and I start to listen to them a little bit. And then when I enter the studio, I change the keys. So it fits my voice because he sings them, and normally I raise them quite a lot in the studio. And then I send my files and my choirs, the harmonies I do as I want to, and all those ad libs and things. And then he takes over the process, and then he sends it to the mixing guy when he's, done with all the files and adding some guitars in the end and stuff like that. So he is the creative mind, of course. But I do have some saying when it comes to the vocals and the harmonies. That's what I do.
So if I look at the two of you as the ghost and the reaper, who's the ghost and who's the reaper?
I think I'm the ghost and he's the reaper, for sure.
I felt with this album that he almost creates the perfect songs to get the most out of. Actually, I was conflicted. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he creates the best songs to get the most out of your voice, or if you get the best out of the songs with the voice that God has given you. Which way do you think it goes?
That's really hard. But I mean, when I get the songs, I just listen a couple of times. And then when I enter the studio, we're not in the same studio, for instance. I'm in Sweden with my bandmate, Niklas. So he and me are like the producers when we do that. And like I say, I raise them and fix them so it suits my key, which is actually one thing I haven't done before. Like in Nightwish, the keys were set. They could be too high or too low, many of them too high. I like to sing high, but it's not supposed to sound strained. And I think Janni just knows how to write songs that I love to sing also, and that's important. I'm very happy when I go to the studio. They are really funny to sing, and so I think it's a win-win, I think we both do our thing to make the songs sound the best.
Was the record, this specific record, was this record easier for you guys to work on, considering you already had one behind you that you had worked with each other already? So was the process overall easier with this one than with the previous one?
Yeah, for sure it was. I mean, the first album, I didn't change the keys so much as I did now, and he was a bit more saying how he wanted it. Now he knows that I know what I do, so he trusts me. If I say like I changed this or I did this, he's like, okay, go for it. So we respect each other and we know each other. He knows my voice now, and he had some concerns about some songs before I recorded them, like, can she do this? Is this working with her voice? But actually then he got them and he was like, God, yeah, it worked. So it was very easy this time, very easy for both of us, I believe.
So, taking on the point you just made, is there any specific songs? Because this album, like you said, it's so eclectic in sound. You got symphonic, you got a little bit more pop, you got some heavier tracks. Was there any specific song on this record that you felt that was a little bit harder for you to nail it down?
Well, there were parts in songs. Like Pills on a Pillow, there's one breakdown in the middle, which is a bit weird in the tempo, where you like have to be on the beat. And it's a good thing that I have Niklas, my bandmate, in the studio, because he's a drummer also. So he helps me. But actually, we nailed it quite fast. But I was a bit concerned when I first heard it. I was like, how am I going to manage this? Because it's a bit weird part to do. And there were like, to whatever end, I did once a demo for that, and I didn't like it at all. Then it was lower key, and I was like, it's not working. Janni, we should take this off. It's not good. But then I entered the studio again, and then I raised it quite a lot. So it's quite high now. And then it worked. So those things are the challenging. You can try and sing a song and it's too low, or, I know where I have my best sounding voice. Not too high, not too low, but in the middle. And when you find that, that's when it's working. And before you do that, it can be hard.
Is it important for you as a singer to know your balance and your limits, to know exactly how far you can go in order to really be able to pull the songs to the maximum of their performance?
You know, when I'm in the studio, which I love, I prefer to be in the studio than live. Maybe it's also because when you're live, people criticize you so much in YouTube that it gets ridiculous. I really hate it because if you have an ill day, you know, but I love the studio. And of course, I can do things in the studio that is harder live, of course, because you do push yourself and maybe you put a harmony that is so high that it's almost impossible. But when you do it in the studio with the headphones on, it's working. So to do it in the studio is normally not a problem. It's when you do it live, it can be a problem. And these songs are quite high and I'm pushing myself, but I believe and hope they will work really well live too, hopefully.
Are you guys planning any live shows in support of the record?
Yeah, I mean, we have gotten a lot of requests actually, and we try to do some gigs. We have the only problem that my little Yanni has joined Insomnium, which means he's a very heavy touring guy. So next year he's quite busy, and that's the hassle of it. But we do try to do some. We have had to say no to some really good gigs with big bands already now. I hope for some gigs. I can say it's not going to be a lot because of Yanni's touring schedule, but some.
So, because I'm sure the fans want to see you guys on the road. I know he's going to have a busy schedule, but this album is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure as people start to listen to it, now that it's out, the demand is just going to increase for more and more festivals and shows. So you guys have to somehow find a way to make it on the road.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would work, but it's actually Yanni who is quite busy. It was a bit bad that he joined Insomnium for me, for my part, to be very egoistic now, because I really want to go tour next year, but he's freaking busy. So it's not a good timing for that, but I'm happy for him, of course, but that do make it a bit difficult.
As you look back at the record now that the record is out and everybody can listen to it, is there any specific song that has a special place in your heart, that it's one of your, I know it's perhaps hard to look at a record and pick a favorite. It's like picking which one of your child you like the most. But is there a specific song on this record that speaks to you?
Yeah, it's All the Time, and the one I wanted to have as the first single is Paul Bearer Walks Alone. In the former album, it was Last Good Day, and it's mainly because of the lyrics. I think it's Yanni has written lyrics that are a bit different from what he does, but it has a very important message. And also I like the whole vibe in it. I think it's heavier and everything. So Paul Bearer is my favorite of all time, what we've done.
The last question I have for you is not related to this album, but having you on record, I have to ask you this question. I would not be able to sleep at night if I didn't ask you this question. If down the road, anytime down the road, Nightwish would consider doing a reunion with reuniting all their singers into a live tour, similar to what Halloween did, would you be up for it?
No, never.
Well, that's an honest answer.
Because I can say like this, there are things they have to do before that will ever happen, and they have still not yet done that. And they treated me so badly that I'm really sorry, but in how it is and how it's been, I cannot see that happening ever.
Well, that's sad for the fans, for sure, because the albums that you worked with them are perhaps two of the best albums Nightwish has ever released. So sad news for the fans, but I can totally understand where you're coming from. And now moving on to something more pleasant, I want to thank you for your time today. And I want to congratulate you and Yanni on this amazing record. This album is absolutely phenomenal from top to bottom. One of my favorite albums of the year. Great tracks. It's the kind of album that me as a metalhead can get into, but even my wife who doesn't listen to metal can enjoy some of the tracks. So thank you for putting this album together, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy you like it. And I want to say thank you for the videos you've done. It's like I said before, my kids really enjoy your reaction videos. Oh. Even my 18-year-old son, he thinks you're so cool. So keep it up.
I wish my son thought I was so cool.
Well, hey, my kids don't think I'm cool. They never almost watch my videos, or they're not interested. So that's how kids are. I didn't like my mom. She's a singer too. I didn't like her voice and her stuff, but now when I'm older, I do. So maybe when they get older.
Maybe. I hope you're right. I hope you're right for both of our sakes.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and say hi to your little one.
I will.
Good. Bye bye.